I wanted to talk about how important it is to be available, to be present in life, and the realities that we face as people that are trying to make a difference in our communities, in our societies. My name is Turab. I make videos about emotional intelligence every day. My mission is to convince you to become the truest version of yourself, because I believe society will be better for it. I spend a lot of time these days educating young leaders on what is required to become useful, to be dependable, to be pillars of their community. And the reason I do this is because I know about the power of individuals. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen it in my own life when I've sat in a classroom and I've taken into account the personalities that are around and the good-natured vibes that can be put out that will necessarily affect the comprehension of everyone in the program, or the just the overall outcomes of group experiences. I think it's lost a lot of the time in society that for some reason they teach us we're not all that important, that for some reason the things that make us unique, the things that make us powerful are thrown under the rug because the very people teaching us have not been able to use their power in the ways that perhaps vision would have granted. And let me clarify that a little bit. I talk a lot about setting goals that are actually aligned with values. The reason I say this is because we're all designed to do different things. We all have innate intuitions about the things that we do that are given to us, I believe, in part, probably significant part, by our genetics, but also the experiences that we go through. And without valuing that, without valuing the uniqueness of our lives, we're never going to be able to commit to ourselves, to admit to ourselves that we actually can make a difference in our environment. And so I've pulled up this little article. I'm probably going to change this picture around, but as evidence that I'm not merely over here talking about these things, I'm actually doing them. So when it comes to a press release in general, there's a couple different things that you want to take into consideration. Obviously, one of the biggest ones, if you're going to be on social media and technology in general, is SEO, search engine optimization. And the reason that people spend so much money and resources on marketing or on putting themselves in as many places as possible is because anytime anyone searches anything associated with you, or perhaps an influencer in general, there should be ample amounts of data so that there is a legitimacy, a trust behind the brand. And I'm saying this to you as a way to break through the paradigm that everything that we have to do is something that needs to be done in the real world. The digital world is a part of the real world, but I say this in a more metaphysical sense, that the data that's on the internet will outlast us, and it is also more widely accessible than directly speaking with us or directly communicating with us on a one-on-one basis. Now, I advocate for that as well. I always say, listen, create a calendar, make the availability slots that you have so that if someone wants to book a meeting with you, that they have the opportunity, and that you have set up the technical aspects in the background to make sure that that opportunity doesn't fall short, because you're really one conversation, one opportunity away from a lifetime of dreams. And so when I look through the aspirations, the inspirations of my interns or young leaders or business owners, I find that a lot of their success comes down to whether or not they're willing to embrace the philosophies of growth. Whether or not they have committed to themselves that they are more interested in the journey than the destination. I say this with awareness that the destination is very, very important. That setting goals, tangible goals that have numbers, quantitative, qualitative assessments that can be made is incredibly important. Because without a goal, without a sense of direction in life, we're never really going to change. We're not going to grow into that person that perhaps can do those incredible things. And the way that I've seen my life is just a consistent approach up a mountain. And the top of the mountain to me is going to be very pretty, but the journey up it tends to be the most enjoyable part to me. This philosophy is shared when I go into the woods, when I go for a walk or a hike. I say to a lot of my cohort, if I have a chance to go and hike with someone, that the instant you enter the woods, that is what you are here for. This right here, this is what you are here for. And if you can establish a sense of play, a sense of wonder for your environment, that will serve you better than pushing ahead and trying to get to the peak. Unless obviously you're in danger or something and you need, exposure, or you set a fire off or whatever. But the point is that if we can really understand that every day is a lifetime, and we can take that into consideration when we're setting our goals, when we're setting our expectations, life tends to become a lot more manageable. Doing this with some goals and a vision in mind makes life actually enjoyable. Because then the days, though they might seem tedious at times, or they might seem tasking, or there's a lot of responsibilities going on, at least you can always turn back to yourself and say you are doing this for a reason. And that's really the thing that's going to keep us going in the long run. A good fucking reason. A really good reason to go and say, I am going to spend this amount of time and resources towards something. And I think most of us are missing that reason. So I'll tell you mine as hopefully a way to inspire you is I've had the opportunity to lead a lot in life. I've had the opportunity to create groups and organizations and to actually create ideas that have become literal, that have lasted. And the beauty of doing this thing one time, multiple times, is that it's given me a lot of confidence in my ability to manifest my ideas. And I want to give that to you, and I want to give that to any other leader or catalyst in society is, listen, if you have something that you want to put out there, you have to spend the time and the energy to break it into its smallest chunks. And then you have to have the dedication and the rigor to actually wake up every day and do it. Because chances are, no one is going to do it like you. And so Dougie like only you will. And make sure that the process is supported by as many people as you can possibly find. What I've found also in my journey so far of creating things is the importance of having people that actually believe in your mission. Like genuinely believe in your mission. And that comes in twofold. One is our ability to influence people and to inspire people as leaders. That's very important. The words that we use and oftentimes how much we show up establishes trust. Progress moves at the speed of trust, and trust is built over time. So, I hope you capture those words when you are trying to be a leader. The second part of it is who you are trying to lead. And this was something that took me many, many years, and even now, I'm still learning about human nature and still learning significantly about myself. But the question I used to ask was, how do you know if someone cares? And what I've begun to realize is that there are certain questions that we can ask people that will open up their souls to us to a degree, their motivations to us. One of those questions is, and this is something that we ask ourselves in observing those people, is how are they treating others? How are they treating the average stranger? And this is a very, very important concept because a lot of people have this misconception that someone, by virtue of loving you or by virtue of being in a different relationship to you than most other people, that they will treat you differently. And the reality of the situation is that's not true. And anyone that's an authentic version of themselves will be treating everyone basically the same way. So, in observing how they treat others, we understand how deeply, or how differently, or how closely, or with distance they'll treat us. The other thing is, I've realized a lot of the time, if we're looking for compassion in particular, if we're looking for someone that has an open heart and someone that has vision, a lot of that is instructed by difficulties prior in life. What I mean to say is, if we have not understood that life is difficult, if we have not deeply contemplated the unfairness of life, the randomness of life, the brevity, the shortness of life, then oftentimes our actions will not be worth as much to us. And if they're not worth that much to us, then we believe that they're not worth that much to other people. So I always like to inquire about what it is that got this person here. Another question that I wanted to start throwing into the interview process is, what book have you read that has changed your life or your perspective on your career? If someone can't answer that, chances are that they are not even pursuing personal development in the simplest way, really seeking information in their own time. So I say all this to you to say, I am a dentist at Franklin Dental Care and Dentures in Ohio. And sure, I provide treatment for people consistently and with deep compassion. But my real mission in this world is to make sure that every single one of you and every single one of my patients and every single one of the people that I affect through my outreach and my philanthropy has the ability to actualize their potential. They have the information, the resources, the tools to actualize their potential. Because I believe that when we start taking responsibility for our lives, we will naturally take responsibility for our community. Actualize your potential, Catalyst. This world needs you. Take care of yourself, alright? I'll see you on the flip.